Hi there, I'm Chris Paoli with the Paoli Group, and we're sitting here in the Paoli Group office. And my wonderful team decided they wanted to make me as uncomfortable as possible, so they asked me to do a video newsletter this month. We seem to be talking about the same concept all the time. The last few months, we've discussed the low inventory, and while we expected high interest rates going to stop people from selling, which it did, anybody locked in 3% is probably not looking to go trade around at 7% interest rates. But we were surprised by the amount of activity from the buyers. This past week, we had a really good indication of how strong the buyer demand is. There was a Saddle Creek townhome that came on the market, and in 5 days had 55 showings, 24 offers, and it's under contract. It was listed at $865, and it's probably going to be under contract close to $1 million. It wasn't our listing, but we did get some info from the listing agent. That means 50% of the people who looked at it were actually interested enough to write an offer. Pretty amazing for a what should be a slowing real estate economy if you watch the national news. One of the other themes that we've talked about quite a bit is the lack of new development going on. And just in the last month, we've had 2 projects enter planning. One is the Amble by East West Partners, which is located just below the Grand. And the other one is the Astrid, which is the 3rd phase of the Edgemont. This is definitely exciting. I mean, there's $250 million going into the mountain, and it's shocking that we haven't seen more development. But that kind of lends us to the question I hear from people all the time. People ask me, what do you think pricing is going to do? And while I can't predict the future, the one thing I can say is pricing is too low, because if it was high enough, developers would be building things and selling them to make money, and that's not the case. What we're excited about with the Astrid and the Amble is, one, we're going to get new product and new exciting architecture, where the newest condos at the base are roughly 12 to 13 years old. For us, we think it's going to be really interesting for the marketplace to see where pricing is going to go. We can't imagine that they're going to be priced under $2,000 a square foot for either of those projects. We've been saying for quite some time now that there's tons of pressure from the lower end properties pushing on the upper end. One Steamboat Place, when it came to market, was averaging about $1,100 a foot. Today, in the last 12 months, there were the sales worked out to an average of about $1,250 a square foot. So it's like a 15% increase. We went back and looked at the West, which is a really old condo complex next to the mountain. And back in 08-09, the average sale price was $419 a square foot, and today it's roughly $950. That's a 129% increase. So I think what we've been seeing and what we've been a little frustrated by is that we've had this massive run-up in the lower priced properties on a price per square foot and gross price basis, but we haven't seen the upper end really jump like it should relative to what construction costs have done. So if you put that same, increase in price on One Steamboat Place, you would say we should go from $1,100, and today we should be roughly $2,000 to $2,500. The underlying construction costs have definitely moved, in that proportion. We typically don't pitch our listings in our newsletter, and usually we only talk about them when they tie to the data or present a unique, interesting opportunity. And this time around, we do have a new listing that we just put on the market I think is worth paying attention to. As Steamboat evolves, and we talked about it previously, in pricing going towards $2,000 and $2,500 a square foot, which we think is inevitable, we just put a 6,500 square foot townhome, fully furnished, comes with a car in the garage, on Temple Knoll, which is walking distance to Thunderhead Lift, on the market for around $2 million. Now, yes, it's a quarter interest, but we very rarely see our part-time buyers of homes using them more than 25% a year. And we've heard some conversations from people saying, oh, well, you can't rent it, and we've said, well, if you bought a 2,000 square foot new condo at the Amble or Astrid, you'd spend $4 million. It's $2 million extra. I just looked this morning. You could find multiple banks that'll give you a 5% on a 1-year CD, which is about $100,000 in pretty risk-free income, versus, I think you'd be lucky to get $100,000 to $150,000 if you used your condo and rented it full-time at the base. So, financially, I think it makes a lot of sense. And then value-wise, the steamboat market is now evolving to where whole ownership is becoming much more unattainable. It's not out of question to think that a 6,000 square foot residence on Temple Knoll in the next 5 years should be a $12 million plus property, $2,000 a square foot and up. So this is kind of a new place for Steamboat to go. But if you look at markets like Aspen and Vail, I think I just saw in Aspen there was a whole ownership townhome that just traded at $6,000 a square foot. So that's a very unattainable price for most buyers. So their markets have definitely embraced and already had successful fractional ownership opportunities. Steamboat is kind of on the cusp of it, and we see this new listing that we've just launched as a really unique opportunity for someone to use and get ownership in a property that is about to become very unattainable as Steamboat evolves. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed our little video newsletter here, and I found that I've come up with a lot of writer's block lately, so I think my team is pushing me towards articulating some of the conversations that we have every day with clients into some of these video blogs, and hopefully you enjoy it, and look forward to more to come.